Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Justin Betty.
And I'm Stacey Van Dyke. Recently, some concerned parents in Hawley have reached out to us here at Valley News Live. Tonight, another 7 teachers, coaches, and other staff members resigned from schools in the district.
Since January, the number of resignations in a small school district has entered double digits, though the school says this isn't that unusual and they're on it. Valley News Team's Anna Ballweber takes us to tonight's school board meeting for the latest.
You could feel the tension in the room as Hawley Public School officials read off the names of those who would be resigning at the end of the year. This month, they had a total of 7 people resign from their positions. Last month, they had a total of 8 people resign. Since the beginning of the year, since January 2024, a total of 20 people have resigned from their positions from the Hawley Public School District. Tonight, I heard from school board officials who say they're working as quickly as they can to get these positions refilled.
We got everything posted right now. We've actually filled some of the positions already. Some of them, we just got the letters here within the last week to 10 days. So we have the positions posted and hopefully we'll have them filled by next fall.
We first heard of these resignations from a viewer who sparked controversy about why this is happening. School officials told me tonight it's just a part of life and everyone is just moving on.
The majority of it is younger staff that have been here as student teachers, have filled in for coaches and things like that, and they've moved on to getting full-time jobs. And we also have a couple staff members that are moving to be closer to family. So really, the spring of the year is the time we get a lot of these resignations.
Just 6 days ago did the district break ground on their brand new middle school. This $53 million project has the district already as busy as can be, but they say refilling these positions is a priority. In Hawley, Anna Ballweber, Valley News Live.